Welcome back to Tuesday, where we check out the vendors that have changed their goods on Tuesday morning. We're starting off in Imperial Sewers with the Telvar Merchant. First up, we have Vvardenfell Treasure Maps. Vvardenfell brings us Defiler, War Maiden, and Warrior Poet, as well as motifs for Buoyant Armiger and potential paintings. However, you can get these a lot cheaper through guild traders, so I would just snag them that way. Exciting that we have Deadly Necklace and Ring. These have been a decent staple for a while. You can see they're pretty pricey. Remember, these are bind on pickup, so if you buy them this way, you can't sell them, but you can save yourself a little bit of gold by buying them this way. Our first lead this week is Mighty Bear's Snarl. This is part of the Huntsman's War Mask Mythic, and this one drops from the final boss in the dungeon March of Sacrifices. I definitely think this one is worth it. Now, March of Sacrifices may be my least favorite dungeon, so I could be biased, but it's long, and the Indrik boss is pretty boring. So, you can get it on normal, but you'll probably have to run it several times to get it. So, I think this is a good buy. All right, our next one is Vitharn Crafted Bale. This is part of Saint and the Seducer, and drops from Dolmen's, so not too terrible. Our next set of jewelry is Necklace and Ring of the Shield Breaker. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Evasion, adds evasion, a buff reducing damage from area effects. Bound Affix Script Uncertainty, adds uncertainty, a debuff reducing weapon critical damage. Bound Focus Script Frost Damage, which of course adds frost damage. And Bound Signature Script Cavalier's Charge, adds an increase to damage as ability persists effect. And finally, we have Revealing Flare Blazing Orange. This one is available from the Cyrodiil War Researcher for 100,000 AP. So both of these methods are going to cost you PvP currency. You can choose between 30,000 Telvar or 100,000 AP, whichever one is easier for you. All right, let's head over to the Scholarium. Let's see what scripts we have in the Scholarium.
I live by that oath.
First up, we have Bound Affix Script Brutality and Sorcery. Adds Brutality and Sorcery, buffs increasing weapon and spell damage. Bound Affix Script Lifesteal adds Lifesteal, a debuff granting healing to attackers. Bound Focus Script Flame Damage adds Flame Damage. And Bound Signature Script War Mage's Defense adds a damage shield. Looks like that's it. Let's head over to Infinite Archive. Let's see what Filer Ul has. Starting off with Shadowfin Treasure Maps. Again, these are going to be a lot cheaper through guild traders, but Shadowfin gives us Hatchling Shell, Robes of the Hist, and Swamp Raider, as well as a chance for the leads for Ancestral Nord, Daggers, and Shoulders motif chapters. But yeah, guild traders are the way to go for this one. Next up, we have Blueprint Deadlands Bookcase Large Ashen. This runs, well, we have two listings on PCNA, one for 2,500 and one for 60,000. So who knows what it really runs. But this one has some good shapes to it. On PCEU, it looks like we just have a listing for 40,000 gold. Next up, we have Blueprint Solitude Bookcase Noble Filled. This runs in the 30s on PCNA. And we have two listings on PCEU, one for 67,000 and one for 200,000. Either way, both of these are going to be good deals to get with Archival Fortunes. We have another bookcase. This one is full. Saves on those item limits. Our first book is Brave Little Scrib and the River Troll. This one drops in Infinite Archive, but I think it's funny. You find the book out in the wild in the Fighters Guild in Telvanni Peninsula. So all these big strong soldiers reading little kids books. I love it. All right, companion equipment, heavy armor. I typically don't recommend getting companion equipment from Filer Ul, especially the armor pieces. You're going to be at the mercy of RNG as to what trait you get, and it's bound when you pick it up this way. So if you don't get what you want, you have no way to offload it. All right, next up is Diagram Redguard Candelabra Twisted. This runs 25 to 45k on PCNA. On PCEU, we have no listings, so this would be another good one to get. Our first lead, we have Druidic Music Box Turnstile. This is part of the Music Box Blessings of Stone, and this particular lead drops from, well, there's some confusion, I think. Most sources say it drops either from Galen Volcanic Vents and from the public dungeon in Alakir Desert. I find it a little weird that we have such a broad drop zone. My guess is it's maybe just the volcanic vents, but we've had some reports of the public dungeon. Where have you found it? I'm curious. A lot of these sites where we look things up will copy each other, and I don't know where they always get their information, but the listings are Galen Volcanic Vents and or the public dungeon in Alakir Desert. Or you can get it here for 5,000 archival fortunes. Next, we have Tonal Resonation Chamber, which is a lead for Rorken Steam Guards, and this one drops from the Rothgar Public Dungeon Rekindleft. This one shouldn't be too terrible, but it's here for 5,000 archival fortunes if you want it. Our second book is Plague Concoctor's Instructions. This one drops an Infinite Archive, but the eidetic memory can be found in Bastion Nimics. If you're not sure how that works, there is a link below that explains it. Next up, we have 6th House Instance of Toolwork. This is one of 7 parts of the 6th House robe costume found in the Vardenfell Public Dungeon Forgotten Wastes. These pieces only run a few hundred gold a piece. I don't think they're worth 3,000 archival fortunes, and it looks like there's plenty of listings. But if you want it, it's here for 3,000 archival fortunes. All right, next up are scripts. We have Bound Affix Script Interrupt, adds interruption effect. Bound Focus Script Knockback, adds a knockback. Bound Signature Script Leeching Thirst, adds a heal for percentage of damage done. All right, next up is Bound Style Page Euphotic Gatekeeper Shoulder. Euphotic Gatekeeper is Graven Deep. So when the Mask Style page drops in the dungeon, you can go in and try to farm it. You have a better chance of getting that style page if you have the hard mode, and then the Undaunted Vendor will carry the shoulder for keys. My personal preference is to buy the masks from Filer Ul and get the shoulders with keys. And my preference is to get them 1 key at a time. I typically get at least a couple shoulders before I hit 50 keys, which is the guaranteed price for shoulders. But it is here if you really want to add it to your collection, because it is a limited time only. So if you're not good about checking the vendor, and this is one of your last ones, it is here to snag. Next up, we have Erroneous Archive Map. Consume 20 Erroneous Archive Maps to unlock the Walk Through the Mirror Maze achievement and the Shattered Mirror Maze body marks. Here are your Shattered Mirror Maze body marks. Now these maps are going to be a guaranteed drop when you do your dailies in Infinite Archive, and then there's a chance for them to drop throughout when you do Infinite Archive. Considering they are 3,000 archival fortunes a piece and you need 20 of them, this is not an efficient way to buy them. If you have enough archival fortunes to do this, you probably have run this enough to just stick it out and get it through your dailies. They are curated. You're guaranteed to eventually get it. I would just stick with that way. And last up, we have Fragment of the Ascension. This is one of 5 pieces of the Roar Verdant Green skill style and drops from the final boss of the dungeon, Moon Hunter Keep. Now that is a guaranteed drop, unlike the March of Sacrifices lead we were talking about earlier. If you go into Moon Hunter Keep and kill the final boss, even on normal, it's guaranteed that this will drop. But if you'd prefer to avoid that, it's here for 5,000 archival fortunes. All right, next up, we're going to run some Infinite Archive. Each week, we also have new gear that starts dropping on Tuesdays. So let's go see what's dropping this week. We just finished a couple arcs of Infinite Archive, and this week we have gear dropping from Deshawn. That includes Mother's Sorrow, Night Mother's Embrace, and Plague Doctor, as well as from Galen, which includes Back Alley Gourmand, Bastion of the Droif, and Phoenix Moth Thurge. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.